Can I say what I think chess is? It won't be so much on the rules, but more on the metaphysics of chess.
After living in the big city for 14 years, my family and I decided it was time to move closer to our southern Alberta roots and relocate to Lethbridge. A month before our move, I stumbled upon a story in Alberta Views magazine. It was about a concept launched by a professor and a judge in which youth learn chess instead of traditional community service.
All right, Chess for Life, scene 3L, take 1.
Should I go? Chess is an art form that's played as a sport and commonly called a game. It is about space, 64 squares, time, and harmony. Pieces working interactively together in order to achieve a common good end. Greg. I'm an associate professor here at the University of Lethbridge in Lethbridge, Alberta.
Hi, I'm Riley Kostick. I'm a high school science teacher at Chinook High School in Lethbridge, and I'm a sessional instructor here at the University of Lethbridge.
Lance, in your own words, tell us how the Chess for Life program started.
It started basically reading the newspaper. I read the Lethbridge Herald, which had a story in it of a local judge, Judge Derek Redmond, sentencing a 12-year-old to basketball practice. It was a restorative, rehabilitative approach to justice and sentencing, and I thought it was brilliant. He asked in court, according to the newspaper, he asked the young boy what do you like to do? And he said, I like to play basketball. He said, okay, your sentence is 30 minutes of basketball a day. The young boy said, I don't have a basketball, and Judge Redmond said, I'll get you one. And he also got him sneakers too. And so I thought that was a great idea. We exercise at the local fitness center here at the university, and I just saw him on the cross sides one day, and I complimented him on the story, and I thought, have you thought about chess?
Well, there's a lot of consistency in that, although I'm not sure it was brilliant. And you know, the difficulty, of course, is that with everything you do, every sentence you deliver, there's people that are supportive. He clearly was. And there's people that, I remember it was reported in a number of national newspapers, and you know, there were people that were commenting on it, and some of the comments were very negative because they felt that it didn't hold the youth to account. And now those people I disagreed with, because that was part of the sentence. I mean, the sentence included all kinds of other things, including counseling and a meeting with social workers and probation officers. But that was the part that caught people's attentions, including Lance's. Yeah.
So we were approached from Judge Redmond, who then presented the idea of working with Lance, Dr. Griggs from the university, in creating a program specifically geared around chess, giving kids credit for community service work hours by playing the game of chess with them. And so we had a little meeting in Michelle's office. We talked about where we wanted it to go, what we could see of it, how many kids we could get there, and it really grew from there. Lance showed up at Michelle's office for that first meeting, and he came with a level of excitement that is like unmatchable when it comes to the game of chess. He was ready with research and ideas and all this good stuff on like where he's seen this kind of a program and its success. And so we had that meeting, and then from then on, we were meeting every week.
His enthusiasm was over the top. He was so excited about all the great things he was doing and the value that chess could bring to kids' lives.
So Jessica Clark, probation officer, was instrumental in the referral process of referring youth who would be, somewhat of a good fit for our program. So she was, and she would actually come with the youth. And so she was awesome. She would play, she would hang out, she would be like part of the community. And I think that's what made it such an effective program.
Like, to be in the room, the atmosphere was different. Even the conversations, because I will have worked with these kids for anywhere from 6 to 12 months. And so my conversations with them in that room, or even when we stepped out, were very different than when I saw them in the courtroom or when I saw them in my office. It was just a level of comfort. Lots of times kids would say to you that they really liked it there because they never felt like they were in trouble or a young offender or anything like that. They just were treated with respect. Like Lance, Riley, Josh just saw these kids for kids. They weren't like an offender or anything like that, So they really, like, the atmosphere was welcoming, exciting, encouraging, motivating. It was just a good place to be.
We had these like different pockets of people. We had Lance, who worked at the U of L, me, who's a high school teacher, Josh, who works at the U of L, Jessica, who's a probation officer, all kind of hanging out with this group of youth who probably don't get a ton of positive adult connection in their lives. And I think that was just, a pretty cool thing about the program, is we would, we would all be in a room for an hour and a half to 2 hours hanging out.
Every kid that I came to with this idea was like, hard no. I don't play chess. I don't want to play. And so it was just really a matter of being like, just give it a go. Give it 3 chances and tell me what you think from there. Kids loved the idea of getting credit for something. They loved the food, and then it was Lance and Riley and Josh who kept them there, right? So they definitely were, no thank you, count me out, I don't want to learn, it's too hard. But 3 sessions in, they were there.
So I just want like what the actual game is.
Exactly. No, I mean, that was great too. I like that.
But chess is all about protecting the king. And it's your job as a player to trap the other person's king. When you trap the other person's king, you win. Pawns, they only move 1 space forward, and they're one of the weaker pieces on the board. The knights move in a 2x3 L shape, and they are the only piece that can jump other pieces. The rooks, or the castles, they can move left and right, up and down. The Queen Bey, the most powerful piece on the board, she can move anywhere she damn pleases. So the whole object of the game is to trap the other team's king. If you trap the other team's king, you win the game.
I actually met Lance through taking a course with him on critical thinking and working with him on a project with our kindergarten kids at Galbraith on critical thinking in the kindergarten classroom and what that would look like. And so we developed a program on choosing a classroom pet and took the kids through a process of pros, cons, decision making. And he came in and watched the kids as we worked through it, and he was fascinated by the amount of thinking and sort of higher level thinking that they were doing. And he said, "Do you want to teach them chess?" And I was like, "To 5-year-olds?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, we'll do anything once, right? Try anything once, whatever happens, happens." And so, yeah, we brought the Chess for Life team in, and there's been no looking back. So he came in and we started just teaching them one piece at a time. So they learned pawns and they played Pawn Wars for a couple of weeks. And then you could see the kids were really excited. And so I just put chessboards out for them during their play center time, and they were flocking to it, and they were talking about the pieces and making little stories up with their kings and their queens. And they come in right after lunch to play chess, and they're super excited. They'll look and they'll be like, "It's chess time!" And you're like, "Yeah, it is." So. Recent media events have shown us people need to stop and think. They need to come back to kindergarten and learn to stop and think. They need to play chess. Think not just to the next move, but think 3 moves ahead. What are the long-term consequences of my actions? We need chess. We need more chess players. We need more thinkers.
the students really, they really were drawn to it. And to the point that we were doing enough, people were walking by the classroom and they were seeing us play, and we had a couple of people that really liked chess come in. Oh, you guys are playing chess, can we sit in and do that? I go, yeah, come in, come join us. And so we had people that actually knew chess, knew it well, and came in, and they were wonderful because they're like sitting down with someone that didn't know anything and helping them figure it out. So it was such a nice environment, and they're like, you got cookies here, you got coffee, this is great. I'm like, yeah, so it was a great environment. It was the way that they could bond with each other in a relaxing atmosphere. There wasn't, it wasn't like writing notes or reading, because the literacy level, it's called literacy for a reason, it's not the highest. So there's a lot of pressure, I feel, taken off of them, and they didn't even realize that they're gaining so much. Every day they were immersing themselves in the game. This could do so much for these students. A lot of these students have learning disabilities. A lot of these students have issues like impulse control. I have many students that have spent time in rehab facilities, in correctional facilities. So there are a lot of high-risk students. And so I think that was my motivation, was like, I want to see if we can do this here on the reserve with these students and get results like we're seeing in all these other stories around the world.
Numerous studies have addressed the positive effects chess can have on the brain. As we begin to further understand the inner workings of the human brain, we begin to understand the potential of chess.
The brain has different compartments. For example, the front part of our brain, that's the prefrontal cortex, that's responsible for kind of decision making. The back part of our brain, it's called the occipital lobe, that's responsible for vision. And we have these different parts in our brain that are activated when we play chess. The more you play chess, the more you activate these parts of your brain. There's a phenomenon called neuroplasticity. Basically, the basic cells, the fundamental cells in your brain, they're called neurons. The neurons are able to strengthen their relationship through experience. And playing chess, we're constantly firing. These neurons are constantly firing by playing more chess, and you're strengthening the relationship between these neurons. Effectively, you're just having a better brain every time you play chess.
They start to see the complexity, they start to see the challenge of the game, and they start to see that there's a different way of relating to life as opposed to moving forward so quickly.
Yeah, I just always am a little like cautious of saying that, like, if they learn this move on the chessboard, they're going to learn this move, in the game of life. I always kind of like, I don't want to kind of get in that mindset. I always want to focus on it's more about just like connecting with these youth.
There's direct evidence suggesting that.
Suggesting for sure.
Deep correlations between learning chess and becoming a reflective, critical thinker.
I don't know. I feel like my life's gotten worse since I've learned the game of chess. So I don't know.
I'm sleeping in. I've been slipping in and out of prison. I will neither forgive nor forget you till I'm dead. And all this talk of death left me feeling short of breath. That you dismiss as nothing new. When karma comes to calling, the bottom gonna fall on out. When the banker shows up unannounced to repossess your house, here I go again. I'm sleeping in. I've been slipping in and out of prison. I will neither forgive nor forget you till I'm dead. And all this talk of death has left me feeling short of breath.
Things that I see in the game that I think are related to real life, first and foremost, is there's consequences to all your actions. One of the things that offenders struggle with, I think, universally, is accountability. We have a lot of offenders incarcerated who don't believe that they're at fault for what they've done. There's always a contributing factor or a reason that they have for doing what they did. So we see that all the time. In the game of chess, there is no one else to blame. When you're playing and you're sitting across the board and you move your piece and then you find out that you've made a mistake, you have to pay the consequence of that action directly. And I think that's going to be one of the big factors that we would hopefully push as an idea. So if they remember nothing else, they may remember that if I do something, there is going to be a consequence. And sometimes you're put in a position by no choice of your own that is not good. So even if you've played the game for years and you play someone who's better, they'll force you into a corner and you have no good options. You have to look at your options anyways, and you have to choose the option that is best for you. And I think for our offender population, a lot of them will find themselves in situations as they move away from a life of crime where they don't really have good options. So they have option A and option B, and they simply have to choose the one that feels like it has the best outcome, even though that outcome might not be good. So I think those skills can translate from the game quite effectively. For the majority of our population, it's not a difficult concept to understand.
So in bringing something like this to the Lethbridge Correctional Centre, you know, I think some of the skills that would translate really well are problem-solving skills, the cognitive functioning skills that they would develop, longer-term planning, and I think that would translate well, just as it has in a youth population, to an adult population.
Does chess in prisons really work? I mean, everybody has a view. Chess is great. You know, we talk about problem solving, critical thinking, decision making. You go, well, so what? Does it work? You know, what's the effect? And so, you know, I work with chess in prisons, not with people outside of it. So I can only talk about what happens in a prison or what people write to me from. And this big stack that Lance is talking about, I can now times by at least 5. I'm telling you, it's 6 foot big. It's unbelievable. And that is, you know, that's real data, at least. That's testimony to, you know, okay, I've not got mathematical numbers, figures, but I have got, you know, emotion testament about, you know, we look at critical thinking and decision making, but what about some of the things that people don't consider? How about health? You know, when I get people that say, I was going to kill myself, I was going to commit suicide, and then I found chess. And when I found chess, I found that I could sit quietly, didn't have to fight for the pool table, and I could have other people around, and we could play a game and engage in battle without having to talk. But I built a new friendship.
Just by playing chess, I've learned to look at the bigger picture, rather than always having tunnel vision. I consider a lot more about possibilities than I did before. I now tend to think rationally before doing anything or making a move. I stop to think because instead of the most obvious irrational decision, there's always something better. I've gained more self-control and learned how to overcome emotional adversities through losses. Every loss I've used to discover some weakness about myself. Everyone's view is different, but now I've learned to be open and learn new ideas. Chess has humbled me as a person, and I'd like to share the knowledge that I've gained.
You know, I gave a young man a prize. He beat me in a simul, and he was a bit upset when I gave him the prize, and I said, well done, and he was a bit aggressive, and he said, well, it wasn't well done. And I said, well, it was well done, and I'll prove to you how it was well done. So we went through the game, and I showed him this Rook and Pawn Endgame and how he outplayed me, and the light bulb went on, and he realised that he beat me fair and square. So he took the book, and his mates were patting him on the back. And the prison officer said, look, he really did come from a horrible broken home. Nobody ever said they loved him. Nobody ever gave him any credit for anything. And this is the first time we've heard anybody really give him credit. I said, look, you've beaten a county champion. Wow. It's brilliant. How brilliant is that? You've done it. You can achieve things. And the smile on his face, and I just drove back, and it was a long trip. And you think, you know, what price can you put on that?
Well, I think what that really highlights is a respect Like in chess, there's a requirement of respect, and you respect the other person. It doesn't matter from what corner they come, what they're coming in with. They're an equal in this encounter, period.
It's becoming clear that chess can be a useful tool for justice departments interested in alternative sentencing. Chess for Life will continue to expand into the prison system in Alberta, with hopes to begin working with other prisons in Edmonton and Calgary.
There's a GM in Irina Krush. When she introduces chess, she says it's about space, time, and harmony, just like physics, space, time, and harmony. So I just thought I stole that from her.
And I wanna open up and look right through you. There she called me by the first name, well, she's known me all her life. Clouds calling to the moon and the stars are in her eyes. And I wanna open up and look right through you. And I wanna feel your colors, baby, hallelujah. Checking in to check out for a while. I close the blinds, I feel the neon signs. And out of touch and out of mind. It's been an hour, been a week, been a month.